Welcome to Conspiracy Tapes by Skoob, Truth Seekers, to what might be the most important 20 minutes of your life. I'm your host, Ryan Martin, and today we're diving deep into one of the most chilling conspiracy theories of our time. A plan so audacious, so technologically sophisticated, and so morally bankrupt that it reads like science fiction. But the evidence suggests it's very real, and it's happening right now. What I'm about to share with you is the story of Project Bluebeam, a 4-stage psychological operation designed to usher in a new world order by convincing humanity to abandon their ancient faiths and submit to a one-world government ruled by the Antichrist himself. This isn't just another conspiracy theory, folks. This is a meticulously planned assault on human consciousness itself. Our story begins in 1994 with a Canadian journalist named Serge Monast. Monast wasn't your typical conspiracy theorist living in his mother's basement. He was a credible investigative reporter who stumbled upon something so dangerous that it would cost him his life, and the life of another journalist researching the same topic. Monast discovered what he called Project Bluebeam, a NASA-led initiative designed to trigger rapid transition to a one-world religion and mass submission to a one-world government. According to his research, this project would unfold in 4 distinct phases, culminating in the enthronement of the Antichrist and the completion of the New World Order. But here's where the story gets truly sinister. Just 2 years after Monast published his findings, he died of a heart attack. No history of heart disease, perfectly healthy man in his prime. And get this, another Canadian journalist who was independently researching Project Bluebeam also died of a heart attack within weeks. He was visiting Ireland at the time. 2 journalists, 2 heart attacks, 2 deaths, all connected to the same investigation. But wait, it gets worse. Before his death, the Canadian government abducted Monast's daughter in an attempt to silence him. She was never returned. Think about that for a moment. A government so desperate to hide this information that they're willing to kidnap a child and murder journalists. Monast's followers believe he was assassinated by the CIA using what they call pseudo-heart attacks, a method allegedly perfected by intelligence agencies to eliminate threats while maintaining plausible deniability. When you're dealing with information this explosive, this dangerous to the existing power structure, people don't just die of natural causes. Now, you might be thinking, this sounds too far-fetched. How could anyone possibly convince billions of people to abandon their faiths and submit to a world government? Well, I hate to break it to you, but they've already done most of the work. The truth is, we're already living under a shadow New World Order. It's invisible, but it's there, pulling the strings of global finance, politics, and culture. Over the past 2 centuries, the dark sentinels of this system, call them the Illuminati, the Freemasons, or simply the global elite, have been methodically capturing the world's economy, financial system, and military power. They've established a global banking system that controls the flow of money across all nations. Corporate empires have monopolized local industries, driving small businesses into bankruptcy while their coffers overflow with profits. We already have a one-world government, folks. It's just acting from the shadows for now. But economic control isn't enough. They needed to destroy something even more fundamental: the social and moral fabric that holds communities together. Think about this carefully. Compare the social and moral values of the 1950s to today. The statistics are staggering. Divorce rates have skyrocketed, abortions, sexual waywardness, drug abuse, and social decay have exploded across every metric. This wasn't accidental. This was engineered. Radio and television weren't invented just for entertainment. They were designed as tools to reach into people's homes and deliver subtle, systematic brainwashing. The institution of family was deliberately destroyed by promoting so-called women's liberation, forcing mothers out of homes and away from their fundamental role of raising children. Media glorified sex, corporations used sex to sell products, and the moral fiber of society was systematically weakened. When people are isolated as individuals, disconnected from family, faith, and community, they become infinitely easier to control. That's exactly where we are today. The groundwork has been laid. Now comes the final push. Project Bluebeam is designed to unfold in 4 distinct phases, each more psychologically devastating than the last. Let me walk you through what Monast discovered, and more importantly, what we're seeing unfold right before our eyes. Phase 1 is the breakdown of all archaeological knowledge. This involves artificially triggered earthquakes and natural disasters, combined with hoax discoveries that will clearly demonstrate that all religious and historical beliefs have been fundamentally misunderstood. The goal is to shake people's faith in everything they thought they knew about God, creation, and human history. Phase 2 is the gigantic space show, a technological spectacle unlike anything the world has ever seen. Using advanced holographic projection technology, lifelike 3D images of religious figures will be projected into the sky simultaneously across the globe. Muslims will see their Mahdi, Christians will see Jesus, Hindus will see Krishna, each group seeing the deity most relevant to their culture, speaking in their own language. But here's the kicker. After delivering their messages, all of these religious figures will merge into one supreme being, the Antichrist. This will be his coronation ceremony, broadcast to every corner of the earth. Phase 3 involves two-way electronic thought communication. Using low-frequency, very low-frequency, and extra-low-frequency transmissions, artificial thoughts will be induced directly into people's minds. Those who resist will be bombarded with suicidal ideation. Microchips integrated into electronic devices will transmit thought control frequencies to manipulate human consciousness on a massive scale. Phase 4 is universal supernatural manifestations. A combination of secret technologies will convince the world that an alien invasion is imminent, while Christians will be made to believe that the rapture is occurring. Confusion and chaos will reign supreme, making it easier for the New World Order to maintain control through a constant barrage of illusions and manufactured crises. Now, I know what you're thinking. This sounds like science fiction, but look around you. Look at what's been happening in just the past 2 decades and tell me if you see the pattern. Let's start with Phase 1. Since 2001, we've witnessed an unprecedented series of massive earthquakes and natural disasters. The 2004 Indonesian tsunami registered 9.3 on the Richter scale. The 2011 Japanese earthquake was 8.9. These are among the largest earthquakes in recorded history, and they occurred just 7 years apart. But here's what's really strange. Eyewitnesses in Pakistan during the 2005 Kashmir earthquake reported seeing pink-colored clouds minutes before the earthquake struck. People described houses and hills rising up above the earth before being smashed down to debris. Entire mountains disappeared into the earth. These are not normal earthquake characteristics. These phenomena are consistent with HAARP technology, the High-Frequency Active Auroral Research Program. This is proven technology that the U.S. government has spent enormous budgets developing. HAARP can manipulate weather patterns, trigger earthquakes, and even interfere with human thought patterns. The pink clouds and bright flashes of light witnessed before. These disasters are caused by electromagnetic radiation reflecting from the ionosphere, a classic signature of HAARP manipulation. And what about those hoax discoveries Monast predicted? Well, in recent years, CERN scientists announced they've discovered the God particle, Think about that name for a moment. They spent £2.6 billion building the Large Hadron Collider, a 17-mile-long underground tunnel crossing the Swiss-German border, all to prove that matter can be created from energy spontaneously without needing a creator. They're literally trying to prove that God is just a particle, that the divine nature has been misunderstood throughout history, and the world is willing to spend billions to make this argument. If that's not Phase 1 in action, I don't know what is. Let's talk about Phase 2, the gigantic space show that will serve as the Antichrist's coronation ceremony. The technology for this already exists, and it's far more advanced than most people realize. There's a 60-kilometer high sodium layer in our atmosphere that can serve as a projection medium. Back in the 1980s, the Russians developed supercomputers loaded with data about dialects, customs, faiths, and languages from every geographical region on Earth. Computer technology has advanced exponentially since then. Today's quantum computers could easily replicate every language and dialect in the world with perfect authenticity. But it gets even more sophisticated. The voices won't just come from speakers, they'll be projected directly into your brain, using the same frequency technology I mentioned in Phase 3. You'll hear these religious figures speaking to you from inside your own head, in your own language, addressing your specific cultural and religious background. The visual component will be breathtaking. We're talking about holographic projections so realistic that they'll be indistinguishable from physical reality. Remember, some researchers believe that no actual airplanes hit the World Trade Center on 9/11, that they were 3D holographic projections that melted into buildings already rigged with demolition charges. If that technology existed in 2001, imagine what's possible today. Some conspiracy researchers predicted this space show might debut during the 2012 London Olympics. Obviously, that didn't happen, but the technology continues to be refined. The question isn't whether they can pull this off, it's when they'll decide the timing is right. Serge Monast predicted this phase would coincide with a major global financial crisis. Paper currency would be abolished and replaced with a global electronic currency. Food and water supplies would be controlled by the United Nations, with access granted only to those who accept the New World religion. Does any of this sound familiar given recent global events? This brings us to perhaps the most terrifying aspect of Project Bluebeam: direct electronic thought control. Most people have never stopped to consider where their thoughts actually come from. Thoughts are generated by electrical signals moving through approximately 10 billion neurons in your brain. Scientists have been researching low, very low, and extremely low frequencies, and their effects on human consciousness for decades. They've now reached the point where they can induce specific thoughts by radiating electromagnetic waves on these precise frequencies. Once the Antichrist's coronation is complete, these thought control frequencies will be broadcast globally to affect and distort human thought patterns on a massive scale. People will experience suicidal tendencies and extreme emotional volatility. Those who refuse to accept the new religion will bear the brunt of the most severe thought disruption. They may become violent or mentally unstable. Meanwhile, believers will experience a sense of euphoria and spiritual fulfillment that reinforces their new faith. This isn't science fiction, folks. The U.S. military has admitted to researching non-lethal weapons that can influence human behavior through electromagnetic radiation. Patents exist for devices that can transmit sound directly into a person's skull, bypassing the ears entirely. The infrastructure for this kind of mass mind control is already in place through our cell phone networks, Wi-Fi systems, and smart devices. Phase 4, Universal Supernatural Manifestations, represents the grand finale of this psychological operation. The global population, already reeling from artificial earthquakes, the space show, and direct mental manipulation, will be subjected to one final traumatic event designed to cement their submission to the New World Order. This phase will convince people that an alien invasion is imminent. UFO sightings will increase dramatically. Strange phenomena will appear in the skies worldwide. Christians will be told that the rapture is beginning, that the faithful are being taken up to heaven while the unbelievers are left behind to face judgment. The chaos and confusion generated by these events will make it nearly impossible for people to think clearly or organize effective resistance. In their terror and desperation, they'll turn to the only authority figure offering explanations and solutions, the Antichrist, now firmly established as the leader of the New World government. But here's what's really insidious about this plan. It exploits humanity's deepest spiritual longings and fears. People want to believe in something greater than themselves. They want to experience the divine, to be part of something meaningful. Project Bluebeam hijacks these fundamental human needs and redirects them toward a system of global control. Now, you might think this all sounds too outlandish for serious people to believe. But Project Bluebeam has gained substantial support among researchers and activists who see the patterns emerging in real time. Norio Hayakawa, author of UFOs, The Grand Deception and the Coming New World Order, warns of a global UFO conspiracy linked to what he calls a sinister occult force, manufacturing the Grand Deception. Hayakawa believes this worldwide plot is designed to stage a counterfeit extraterrestrial contact or alien invasion to urgently bring about a new world order. According to Hayakawa, this dramatic invasion and the ensuing catastrophic events will be immediately followed by unprecedented earthquakes, a global financial crisis, and a mysterious evacuation of a segment of the world's population. All of this will culminate in an urgent official declaration of a totalitarian New World Order designed to last 7 years. Hayakawa predicts that these shocking global events will place millions of people in an absolute stupor for weeks, during which time an ingeniously executed, extremely effective, multi-leveled mind control program will be activated to calm the stunned populace. During this period of global confusion, a dynamic, charismatic leader will arise out of the European community and offer a brilliant explanation to sedate the public through a worldwide television broadcast. Hayakawa believes this leader is currently around 29 years old and residing somewhere in Western Europe, just waiting to begin his official mission. Even mainstream evangelical leaders have begun connecting UFO phenomena with biblical prophecy. They see these mysterious aerial objects as the signs in the skies referenced in apocalyptic literature and the Book of Revelation as heralding the advent of the Antichrist. At the heart of Project Bluebeam lies NASA's alleged involvement in this global deception. According to Monast's research, NASA's expertise in space technologies, satellite deployment, and advanced research makes them the perfect vehicle for orchestrating humanity's greatest deception. The theory suggests that NASA, working in coordination with the United Nations and other global organizations, plans to use their technological capabilities to simulate religious experiences and supernatural events on a planetary scale. Their research into holographic technology, satellite communication systems, and space-based surveillance provides the perfect cover for developing the tools needed for mass psychological manipulation. Consider NASA's public research programs, radiation measurement technologies, space station modules, advanced satellite systems, and cutting-edge communication technologies. Conspiracy theorists argue that these publicly acknowledged programs provide the technological foundation for the kind of sophisticated illusion described in Project Bluebeam. The holographic projection technology needed for the space show could easily be disguised as research into advanced display systems or satellite imaging. The frequency transmission equipment required for thought control could be hidden within legitimate communications research. The global coordination necessary for simultaneous worldwide events already exists within NASA's international partnerships and satellite networks. What makes this particularly compelling is that NASA has the perfect motivation for participating in such a scheme. As a government agency dependent on public funding and political support, NASA would be vulnerable to pressure from the same global elites who allegedly control other major institutions. Moreover, the space agency's unique position as humanity's primary interface with the cosmos gives them unparalleled credibility when it comes to explaining extraordinary phenomena. If NASA tells the world that what they're witnessing is genuine contact with extraterrestrial intelligence or divine intervention, most people would believe them without question. When we examine recent history through the lens of Project Bluebeam, disturbing patterns emerge that suggest this plan is already well underway. The systematic destruction of traditional values, the consolidation of global power, and the advancement of mind control technologies all point to a coordinated effort spanning decades. The groundwork was laid in the post-World War II era, when television began penetrating homes worldwide. This wasn't just entertainment. It was the first mass deployment of mind control technology, broadcasting Masonic and materialistic ideals directly into every living room. Media ownership concentrated in the hands of the same corporate interests that controlled global finance, ensuring message consistency across all channels. The 1960s counterculture movement, while appearing grassroots, actually served to accelerate the breakdown of traditional family structures and moral frameworks. The sexual revolution, drug culture, and rejection of authority weren't organic social developments. They were carefully orchestrated psychological operations designed to weaken societal cohesion. The development of computer technology, satellite networks, and global communications infrastructure throughout the late 20th century provided the technical foundation for worldwide coordination of the final phases. The Internet, while offering unprecedented access to information, also created the perfect surveillance and manipulation platform. The 21st century has seen an acceleration of all these trends. The 9/11 attacks served as a catalyst for global political realignment and the normalization of authoritarian control measures. The subsequent War on Terror created a permanent state of crisis that justifies extraordinary government powers and military intervention worldwide. Financial crises, engineered pandemics, and climate emergencies have conditioned populations to accept rapid, dramatic changes to their way of life in response to perceived existential threats. Each crisis expands government power while simultaneously weakening individual autonomy and critical thinking capacity. We're only scratching the surface of Project Bluebeam. The signs, the tech, the psychological groundwork. It's all unfolding faster than anyone expected. But here's the twist most people never consider. What if the real plan isn't what we think it is, and the biggest reveal is still hidden? There's a part of this story you haven't heard yet, the part that could change how you see everything. Want the full truth? Download the Skoob app now to get access to the full story. Dive deeper, explore the facts, and hear the complete episode inside the app. Until next time, stay curious, stay aware, and never stop questioning what you're told.